I had to take a renter to court because they kept my car and we ended up in front of the judge. And I don't think people realize just how easily that could happen. If you don't have the right structure, you are exposing yourself to risks. So, we're going to go over the contractual agreement and we're going to break this down. The first thing that you guys are going to want to have on your contract is obviously the basics. You're going to want to have their name, first and last. You're going to want to have the address that they live. You're going to want to have as well their license number, as well as a contact number, their cell phone number. You're going to want these basic things on your contract before you exchange your keys to them. Next on the contract, we're going to be looking at the rental vehicle itself. So we're going to make sure that we have the make, the year, the mileage of where the car is currently so that you know how far they've taken your car. And you're also going to want to have the model, the color of the vehicle, as well as the VIN number. Okay? So you want to have your rental period, the start date and time. You want to have the date that they picked up the vehicle as well as the time that they picked up the vehicle. And that way when they return it, it's an even 24 hours or however many days, it's even. We don't have to try to figure out if they owe extra or things like that. And then we're going to want to have the end date as well as the end time, okay, that the car is due to be returned. On your contract, you're going to want to make sure that you have a mileage limit stated clearly on your private car rental contract. If not, you're going to have your car ending up all the way in Tallahassee, and you may be from wherever you're from, the Midwest, right? That's where I'm from. And I've had my cars all the way in Louisiana and all these New York City and all of these, far South Carolina. And you don't find out until they return your car. That's when you find out they just added 3,000 miles to your vehicle. Not always are they going to be upfront with how far they're taking your car. So be clear and have your mileage limit. You can have two options. You can have a no mileage limit. I would not recommend that, but it does allow for you to get more bookings. Or you can have a mile limit that you have set. I would recommend setting a mileage limit of, I would say 1,000 miles. Okay, and that way each time someone has your vehicle, 1,200 miles, something like this, so that it's not, they're not going to be over exalting your car and the mileage. So put a cap on your mileage. Okay, now you want to have clearly stated on your contract, what are your fees? What is your daily rate? Do you have a weekend special? Do you have a monthly special? You put that there. And so I just keep it simple, maybe something like $50 a day, $60 a day, something like this. You're also going to want to have, what happens if they do go over that mileage limit that you set? What's the consequence? So mine is somewhere around 17 cents per excess mile. You can come up with your own, or maybe you can compare to what your state regulations are. But I would recommend somewhere around 17 and 20 cents per excess mile that the renter drives, okay? And you're also going to want, of course, to have your deposit clearly stated on your contract. Now, your deposit is what's going to make or break you in a lot of this business. So I would recommend a solid deposit of at least $200. And that deposit is going to be, you guys, refundable. That means once they return your car, everything is how it was when they picked it up, they can get that refundable deposit back. Likewise, if something's damaged or things of that, and we will get into that on the contract, you're going to want to make sure that it's a substantial amount from your deposit that you can cover those damages. Okay, let's get into that. Now, on the second page here of my contract, I have a portion that is for fees and penalties. Okay, fees and penalties. So I have different fees and penalties. I have a smoking fee that is clearly listed, and I have my price. I have my cleaning fee. I have my carpet damage fee. I have my late return fee, my vehicle delivery fee, my fuel refill fee. That means if they bring the vehicle back on E, then you're going to take that out of the deposit. At the very least, they should have brought it back how they picked it up, if that makes sense. We're not giving out cars on E, so we're not playing that, okay? And then I also have a missed booking fee. That means, say for example, they are an hour late returning the vehicle, and that causes you to miss a booking from someone who was waiting. Sometimes this may happen. And so you're going to want to make up for that missed booking. And so we do have a missed booking fee. And again, you're going to want to make sure that that amount is about an average amount that renter would have booked for. So maybe about 3 days, I would set that amount at, okay? So those are our damage policies, our fees, and our penalties. And when we have our contract, we want to make sure that all of these things are clearly stated in writing, okay? Now, if the vehicle is returned with any of those damages, you forfeit their deposit. You keep the deposit. Now you no longer have to worry about how am I going to pay to get the ashes out because they done smoked a cigarette, or how am I going to get this, dog hair out of the back seat, whatever. You kept the deposit, and now you can move forward. And this is where they're going to sign at the end. My contract happens to be 3 pages. So they sign, you, the owner, and the renter signs and dates, and that is your contract. And those are the main. I just went over a basic, my contract does include a couple other portions in it, but what I was making sure to provide to you guys is the basics. These are the main points of a contract that you're going to need to have highlighted, written down, and signed off on by your renter before you hand off the keys, okay? Now, the next major portion of the contractual agreement is the renter, right? So what sort of screening process as a private renter business where you don't have a major platform that could, vet these renters, what do the private car rental owners do? Well, I have several different ways that I personally go about screening my renters. The first thing that you do is, number one, when they're coming to get the vehicle, you're going to want to make sure that you take a picture of their license. Not only a picture of the license, a picture of the front of the license, and a picture of the back of the license. You're also going to want to make sure that when you're taking a picture of their license, that they're holding it up to their face, okay? You have the real face and you have their license, and you take a picture of both of those things, okay? So that is just for your personal documentation with that renter. Now, obviously, they're already at the car if I'm doing that. How do I know that I even want to rent to them? I'll get their name and first and last name. And what I'll do is I'll do a social media search. Because a lot of the people that rent from me privately, they come from my social media pages that I reach out to people that may be interested in renting my car. So these are from different social platforms. So a lot of these people that contact me to rent the car, they're coming from some sort of a social media site. So all I have to do is then go on their page and take a gander and say to myself, based on what I'm seeing, is this someone that I would want in my car? And you would be surprised that's just enough. You can, you take a look at their page and sometimes it's instant. Oh no ma'am. No, sir. You will not be in my vehicle. It's just that simple because you just took a quick gander. So sometimes it's not as hard as you may make it out to be. It can be a very simple search. But there's other ways. I recommend, there's something called the clerk of courts. And depending on what state you're in, you're actually able to search their first and last name. And it'll be able to pull up their history, their criminal, if they have one. It'll all be able to pop, and it's free. You can search your family members now. You can start searching. Just, bored, just searching. I wonder what Aunt Mildred did. Just start searching. And it'll show you the background. And so if there's a particular person where maybe they don't have a social media site or something of that, that's when I would use the clerk of courts. And the only thing that I'm basically worried about is, do they have any sort of driving, traffic violations, violent violations, drug violations, things of that, right? Use your personal discretion. The point I'm trying to make here is that there are ways for us to get an insight on the person that's renting without having to pay for the background software. As you know, you could just run straight background checks on your renters, but that is an expensive software and program that you would have to pay for to get that access. So these are just other ways, but if you ask me, very, very highly effective on you being able to screen who you want in your vehicle. Now this is a pro tip, and you say what you want to say, but I've been doing this for a long time, you guys. So I'm at the point now, right? And so there's a way that I do it sometimes, not all the time. And this was really when I was starting out private. What I would do, you guys, and this is what I recommend for people starting out, just to give yourself some more security, right? Ask the people if they didn't contact you from social media, if they didn't do that, if they found you some other way, you're gonna want to then request their social media page when they get to the car. So you don't want to do it too far out to get them thinking like, well, why she need all that? You kind of just present it to them while they're there. And they're going to do it because they here to get the car. And you're just saying, hey, this is just in case I can't get in touch with you on your cell phone or via call. This is just another way that I can get in contact with you and be able to reach out to you. And that's how you frame it. But what it really is it's another form of security. Say, for example, they end up keeping your car for an extra day, or like how one of my renters kept my car. Well, I was able to get that rapidly solved because I had her Facebook, and I was able to start contacting her friends and family via her Facebook. But 9 times out of 10, you'll never use it. You'll never need it. But if you do, say for example, their phone, they didn't pay their phone bill, right? And you're trying to contact them about the vehicle to just whatever the case, making sure that they're on the way to drop it off or whatever you may reach out to your renters for. And maybe they didn't pay their bill that day or something like this, or, who knows. But either way, they're not answering, right? Well, a lot of people, they still will be on their social media even with their phone cut off because they hooked up onto a Wi-Fi. You see? So utilizing and making sure that you grab that social media. And again, if it's hard for you to reach them, guess what you can do? You can go through their friends list and grab all the people with their last name and start contacting them. So what you're doing is you're building up a team of security. Using their people, their family and friends, unbeknownst to the renter, right? And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just a way of you being able to collect other means of communication, which is what you're going to need in this car rental business. You're going to need that communication. So being sure that you have their cell phones, their addresses, their license, and their social media. This will avoid some of the pitfalls that you may face in doing the private car rental business. I go over all of these in depth, step by step, in my cohort that I do once a week. We meet up over Zoom, and I got people in my cohort that's just trying to build their private car rental business and scale it. Or even people that's just trying to do it as a side hustle. So please take a look at the comments. There's an application there. Fill out the application so that you can join in on my cohort and we can meet up weekly. And this is just an opportunity for you to take the resources that I'm offering you and start this new private car rental business or start this new side hustle. If you're new on my channel, you're going to begin to find out that I'm going to present to you guys various streams of income, various ways of stacking your streams. And the point of this is that you'll begin to discover as you're going along on my journey that these streams of income will then begin to start paying for my living. And once it begins to pay for my bills and my living, they say that's the threshold that you cross right before retirement. That's how you retire yourself, making sure that your streams of income can pay for your bills. And once that moment happens, that's when you reach your retirement. So this channel is all about stacking those streams and heading towards early retirement. I hope that you guys will continue to join me on my journey.